Hi, everybody. This is Shelley Jacobs, and I'm coming to you on behalf of the Worldwide We. So the date is January 7th, 2021. And unless you've been hiding out in a cave or living under a rock, you have probably seen what happened here in America in our capital. The Capitol was breached. Our Congress people were running for safety. Our electoral process was disrupted. And luckily, our Congress people got back in and finished the electoral process, and we have finished the work to assure that Joe Biden will be the next president of the United States. But I think many of us agree that it is a dark day here, that what happened yesterday is truly horrific and should never happen again. As a 501c3, we have some pretty stringent rules about what we can and cannot talk about as far as politics, and so we must remain apolitical. But I bring up the events of yesterday in the context more of human behavior, and I want to point out that what has been happening here in this country over the last several decades that really culminated in yesterday's violence is nothing new. It is something that humanity has repeated over and over again in lots of different cultures. And the scapegoating of groups of people, the idea that some specific group is responsible for problems, and that they're scapegoated because of it. That's something that there have been many leaders all through the ages that have done that sort of thing, and it's really a terrible, terrible way to lead. It's really not leadership, quite frankly. And it's unfortunate that it's kind of easy to do. It's very easy to give people information and get them to believe something, and then get them all riled up and get them to act out because of it. And it's really sad that that can happen. But it is something that can happen and has been happening for quite a while. And so I'm bringing it up because this is one of the things that I think if we grow the worldwide we to what it needs to be, I think that we can assure ourselves that the potential for that to happen will begin to drop. So if we have a strong, united group of individuals all over the place that understands that we are interdependent upon one another, and that communicating with each other and coming to agreements with one another is the best way for us to ensure our sustained existence, then we can make sure that we don't elect leaders that don't act in accordance with that thinking. So I wanted to bring that up because I think it helps explain one of the aims of the we. But I want to tell you about another thing that came up. I was brainstorming for the last four days or so, trying to figure out with some friends what exactly needs to be talked about in this video. And there was something that came up during one of the discussions that I think is a really good example of how to further explain the bigger picture of the worldwide we. And so it was said by one of my friends that, oh, well, if the United Nations was a grassroots up organization instead of a figurehead down organization, then that's basically the same thing. And I was like, oh my gosh, yes, that was a great way to describe it. So what do we mean by that? Well, the United Nations was a direct result of a Second World War. So we had the First World War, right, in early 1900s, 1914, if I'm not mistaken. And they called it the war to end all wars, right? So there was just mass destruction because there were new weapons that were created. We had airplanes, there were bombs, and there was just this incredible loss of life and destruction, and many people were maimed. A lot of buildings were destroyed. I mean, it was just an incredibly sad and just dismal display of some of the worst sides of human behavior, right? And so people were shaken to their core about that. And they said, oh, this is the war to end all wars. And yet, in the late 1930s, we end up in another situation where we're getting into another world war. And America was later getting into it, but the rest of the world started to become involved in another world war. So when it ended in the middle 1940s, um, leaders all over the world and business people all over the world, like, how can we help humanity and let's not have this happen again? And they come up with the idea that basically was the foundation of the United Nations. It's like this peacekeeping organization, this organization that helped countries develop sustainably, helped, with education and human rights and healthcare and all these things. And for the most part, it did a lot of great good in the world. And then it kind of fell short on a lot of fronts also. And I think that one of the reasons that it fell short, or has continued to fall short, because it's not that it doesn't exist anymore, is that it did not engage the voices of everyday people in the big way that it could. And I think that that's what the world is missing. And so this is why the worldwide we needs to come into being, because it can be the platform to hear voices from all continents, from all nations, everyday people in conversation with one another and sharing data with one another for the aim of helping humanity become more sustainable so that we can evolve together, that we can network together, that we can fix problems together. And so I thought that was a pretty eloquent way to describe it. So a grassroots up organization that focuses on issues, big issues, small issues. I think that was like the best way to put it. So and the other thing that came out of one of the brainstorming sessions was the idea of making let me look at my notes, I don't know why I can't remember this, guys, but Declaration of Interdependence. Right here in the United States, our country was founded on the Declaration of Independence because we were separating from Europe. We wanted to make a new thing here where we said everyone was equal. Of course, back then it was wealthy men were equal. Thankfully, America kept growing and started to be more inclusive of people of color, of women, of poor people. And so we have embraced this idea of equality. Lots of us have. There's still people that are sort of fighting against that, obviously. But why can't we create that just as a general rule for humanity across the globe? I think we can. So the worldwide we, Declaration of Interdependence. We are a social species that is reliant on one another to survive. And what we have to do is just get better at working together, communicating together, communicating together, getting ourselves focused on things that need to be worked on. And so that is the aim of the worldwide we. And again, I'm not getting into specifics here yet, but I think this gives you a better picture of what is trying to come to life here. So we have the website, theworldwidewe.org. And we have our Facebook page, and we are on Twitter. And so my ask of you today is please just come and join. Join the Worldwide We. Come to the website, theworldwidewe.org, or come to the Facebook page and become a member of it. Because I think as we see our numbers grow and we see more people saying, yes, that's a great idea, I do believe we can do better together, that it will help empower us. If that doesn't feel like enough for you, you want to do more than that, help us grow. Share this information. Help us reach out. We only have, so much of a reach right now, and we need help. We need your help to reach other people, to help them see why this makes good sense and become members also. And if you feel like doing more than those two things, we need actual help with specifics. Particularly right now, our website. As I said, it's a single page. It's on WordPress. We have been looking for WordPress experts to help us fix the page. We keep seeming to take 2 steps forward and then 3 or 4 steps back. And so the website, when it gets finished, will be much more complicated and have a lot more going on than what you're going to look at if you go there today. But we need help. we need more expert minds to help build that out. So again, if you or somebody you know is a WordPress expert, please get a hold of us. Go to the website, TheWWWe.org, or come to the Facebook page and send a message and say, hey, I do WordPress. I can help you out. I'd love to have a few people that collaborate. That would be terrific. The other thing is we need lots of help with all these other things that we're trying to get off the ground for the organization. And so we need all sorts of people with all sorts of skill sets. So if you've got a few extra hours a month and you want to throw them in a good direction, we will take all the help we can get right now. So again, come to the Facebook page, The Worldwide We, or come to the website, TheWWWe.org, and help us out. We would love to have anyone who wants to help us. So I appreciate you guys watching this. I hope everybody's going to stay safe, and I hope that you all are hanging on to the vision of what can be, and hoping that what happened yesterday here is this country hitting a bottom point. And I feel like we are hitting the bottom point, and from the bottom we can climb back up. And if we do it together, we're going to be so much stronger. So again, thanks for watching. Please stay safe. I will make another video next week, if not before, to explain more about the Worldwide We. All right, have a great afternoon. Bye.